When I'm out on hikes, solo hikes, most of my thought is spent thinking on past and future trips, maybe comparing where I'm at with where I've been, visiting places in my head that I've not yet been to, and revisiting those that I'd really like to return to. Yeah, fair to say I think about hiking. And I like numbers. I'm positively incompetent at math, but I've always liked math, and I've always tried hard at it. I really like prime numbers. That's a little nerdy, but there's something just simply interesting about them, and they are useful in mathematical and technical applications such as encryption algorithms. Not that that has anything to do with what I do day to day, but I do like them.
Oh, look at that. The tree fell up the hill.
And 53 is just a neat prime number. It sounds different than other prime numbers, 31, 47, and it looks different too, with all those curves. So on a hike, I thought about the number 53. And I think it's because I turned 53 this year in 2022. And how neat would it be as a hiker to be able to hike 53 miles for my 53rd birthday? Well, yeah, I've hiked 26.5 miles in late 2021 and it about broke me. I wasn't moving for a few days after that. So hiking 53 miles in one go is well outside of my physical capabilities. Even hiking that in 2 days is simply not reasonable. But in 7 days? Hmm, that might just work. 53 miles for 53 years. My wife's idea? 5.3 miles for 10 days, with the last hike on my 53rd birthday. 5.3 miles is a pretty tame distance for me. I can usually manage 5.3 miles, even on a hard trail, without too much trouble, unless I'm having some serious back issues. But to do that 10 days in a row, rain or shine, after work, on the weekends, over a holiday, and then to take you guys somewhere each time. So here we are, day one, the Montrose segment of the Ice Age Trail. Someplace we've been to before, familiar ground, a great place to start.
There we are, 5.30 miles, and there we are. Okay?
All right.
All right, so if you thought that last bit was up, now we go up. Yeah, buddy. Devil's Lake State Park. Probably one of the top 10 destinations in the United States. And only 15 years ago, it was one of the top 3 in the state. I guess you could consider it a ninth wonder of the world. And I'm not exaggerating, at least not by much. Over on the eastern bank over here, you've got a 500-foot bluff of the ancient Baraboo Range, which this is part of. And the whole park centers around this west bluff, this big lake, and the east bluff. But there's so much more when you expand out. This is definitely a place of just absolutely fantastic geological wonders. In fact, Come with us. If you look out here, you see this pass and this rise, and what this actually is a large debris field that was left behind by the glacier. And if you can imagine, some 10,000 years ago, just past here, would have been a sheet of ice a half-mile high. And to give you some perspective, this bluff is about 530 feet high. And a half mile is, well, 2,800 feet high, 2,600 feet high. So way up there would be the top of the glacier, and it got stopped dead in its tracks right here. And when it receded, it left behind a pile of rubble. And these bluffs stayed. That's taking leave nothing but footprints a little too literally. We just got fed some from people over there. They have a whole pile of different meat. They gave us some pork ribs. Oh, they're so good. From down here you can't. Now we go up that balanced rock trail. These rocks on this side of the bluff, on this trail you go up, are just fantastic. Awesome is a good word. The different colors of this hard rock and lichen growing on them, it's a unique landscape. This is not from centuries of wear of footwear. This was once at the bottom of a lake. And that's just the motion of the water against the bottom of that lake. And that's where the trail gets its namesake, balanced rock.
We are here. We're going all the way over to the buck.
Where'd we come from?
All the way over from here.
Yep, on the yellow one. ACH Trail.
Woohoo.
And now we're up on top of the bluff. And here's the woodlands. And these are mounds in here, aren't they? Is that correct?
I'm not certain.
I believe those are mounds in there. Burial mounds. That was a very rough go for us today. I'm typically a little better on hills than that, but I think I'm having a little adverse reaction to a new medication, and it's causing some problems. But hopefully now it'll be just rolling and flat here and can recover, and then it's downhill, so the hard part's over and the really beautiful part has begun. Wow. The Baraboo Range, western edge. Is that something? Here is another spectacular feature of this park. If you see, there's oak trees in amongst these other trees. If you look at the size of them, they go planted 10 years ago from the size of them, maybe 10 years, 15. Try 600. The oaks that are sprinkled in throughout here are all part of the same organism, and they are over 500 years old. It's just that the soil is so lousy they can't grow. It's just they're stuck on the bedrock, but they persist and they survive. Very interesting. And check a look at that. That's really pretty. Wish I knew my flowers, eh? That's a pretty cool one. We have we have some pluses and minuses here at this point in the hike. One plus is that we are generally now going downhill, and we are in the last mile of the hike. The bad news is that it's gotten very dark out. We've had a little bit of rain fall through the trees, and we are just slightly unprepared for rain. But the good news is the temperature has probably dropped by about 8-9 degrees and is now in the 80s instead of around 90. So I guess you get what you get, right?
Could be worse.
Could be raining. People on the beach anymore. Hey, there's not too many people on the beach anymore. Hello, birdie. So this is Elephant Rock. I think I see the ear. That might be right there. The trunk is tucked under, maybe. He's kind of sleeping. Looks more like a buffalo to me. Bison, you know what I mean? Here's another neat feature. Now this rock, one thing I can tell you about this rock is that it has been tipped over sideways. And how I know this is from these little bad boys right here. These were actually, would be horizontal? Yeah, horizontal, this way. And rocks were in there. And the rock would get spun around by the movement of the water and etched out those holes. And then at some point, this rock just went boop and tipped right over. It's not balanced anymore. There we are. Day 2 in the books, and here we are. Devil's Lake State Park on our second day of our 53 miles. And this is Wisconsin's largest state park at over 10,000 acres. 2 campgrounds? 2 campgrounds. And just absolutely magnificent views. And what we saw today around the lake, doing around the lake loop, which is the toughest hike in the park by far, is just less than a quarter, less than a tenth of what is around, in and around the park and the Baraboo Range. There is so much in this area that's worth seeing. And today, I mean, boy, we had great views. We had a little bit of rain. We got fed pork ribs. We had ice cream. We had heart rate issues, tough climbs, and beautiful scenery and great company. And yeah, we're not back to the car yet. A little bit to go, and we'll finish this puppy up tomorrow.
Actually, you see them soaring over the lake. So
Yeah.
we still left some things on the picnic table.
Yeah, I probably dumped some garbage out in the parking lot and on the picnic table. This is different. I may have seen this before. but I don't recall seeing this. Do you recall seeing something like this?
Not like
Are these
this.
turkey vultures on the ground? There they are up in the air. And here they are scavenging on the ground.
At a roadkill.
Yeah. This gives you an idea of the actual size of these birds. These things are big. Look at him waddle. He's so cute.
Look how many there are.
Is there a dead body in that car? I think there's a dead body in that car. That's what's going on here.
There's like 14 or 15.
I know. Look at this. And they're way up in the sky here. I'm a little frightened, actually. Wow, look at the size of this guy. Holy mackerel. Yowzer. Guess if I was his size, I wouldn't care much about me either. Welcome to day 3. We have a beautiful sunny evening here in Janesville, Wisconsin. It's a little bit cooler out today. The humidity was much higher about an hour ago, but this evening has really turned out to be quite pleasant. It's about 77 degrees. There's a nice breeze coming through. Humidity dropped. It's probably in the 70s rather than the upper 80s. I'll take that. And you know, I've spent a fair amount of time in this city and the neighbor city of Milton as well. I've walked miles of trails here, including the Ice Age Trail, which winds along through here. It's one of my go-to places to just come out and take a walk. This city knows how and where to put a park, I can tell you that. A nearly 15-mile greenway forms a nice little U-shape, all from east to south to west to north. And along the way, it hosts multiple parks. It has arboretums, golf course, ball diamonds, swimming pool, right over here, tennis courts, and well, you know, Janesville just knows parks. So tonight, we're going to take a nice 5.3 mile stroll, I hope. And we're in the southwest part of Janesville in Rockport Park, right near what they call the Peace Park. I haven't been to the Peace Park. I've only driven through Rockport Park, so this is actually a new spot for me, believe it or not, after all these years. And we're going to go nearly into downtown on a recreational path where we're going to have a little bit of a history lesson. Should be fun. It's a thought. If the obstacle was made faster, it might not be an obstacle. The city, for nearly 3 generations, was defined by the Chrysler plant that occupied a vast space on the city's south side. That plant has been gone for years, and while it hit this place hard, this is a very resilient community. And they found a way to take up that void and make a vibrant, welcoming community. So Rock River in Rock County. Did you ever wonder how places get their names? Well, I do, all the time. And I'd invite you to look for a book called Wisconsin Place Names. It's rather illuminating. Well, Rock County, where Janesville sits, was split from the large and sprawling Milwaukee County in 1836, which was also split from Brown County in 1834. That year, 1836, is also said to be when the natives in the land first saw a white woman. The first recorded visit from a white man was only a few years prior, in 1832. I find that a little hard to believe, but that's how the story goes. The county itself received its name from the river that flows through it, the Rock River. The Rock River. Well, the river was, as you might suspect, an important transportation method for the early people of what is now Rock County. The river twisted through an area of rolling prairie with very few prominent hills and ever-changing woodlands. If you've ever paddled a river through the prairie, you'll recall that you often cannot see over the steep, sloping riverbanks or even past the tall grasses on the shore. But here, at a certain bend in the river, there was a rock, 15 feet high, right on the shore. And that rock was a primary navigation point along the waterway since time immemorial. That rock named the river. That rock named the county.
Day 3 of our 10-day adventure comes to a close on an evening you can only dream about. We've stayed close to home these first 3 days, but in the next episode, we'll travel a bit north to Jackson, Clark, and Eau Claire counties. There we'll visit a familiar spot, find a high point, and discover a rare gem of a park.
And there we are. And the car is not far.